Hello and welcome to the October Community Forum for Oakland Bay Junior High School. I'm Mario Juves, principal of Oakland Bay Junior High School. I'd like to welcome you to our September Community Forum. We will actually have one each month. We will have one each month, and this is our September one. I will be making a quick statement in Spanish, so please stand by. Buenas tardes y bienvenido a nuestro foro de comunidad de Oakland Bay Junior High School de septiembre. Como anuncié hace unos días, teníamos planeado usar una tecnología nueva de Microsoft que permite traducciones en tiempo verdadero por modo de su aplicación. Desafortunadamente, el programa no estaba funcionando esta tarde. Entonces, lo que voy a hacer es, si ustedes me dan preguntas o comentarios en español por YouTube, yo voy a contestar en español a la misma vez también respondiendo en inglés para que los participantes que hablan inglés puedan saber exactamente cuáles eran sus preguntas y comentarios. Entonces, bienvenidos. Como siempre, si hay preguntas o los podemos ayudar en cualquier cosa fuera del foro, por favor, llamen a Oakland Bay Junior High School al 360-426-7991 y pueden hablar con María Vázquez, quien es nuestra representante de la comunidad, o conmigo, Mario Juves, director de Oakland Bay Junior High School. Gracias. Okay, so for this particular community forum, we want to start off with by giving everyone a little bit of a guided tour of the K-12 actual platform. And one of the reasons why is because of the fact that Ms. Rachel and I, Ms. Tarazi and I, have been talking about the fact that, it just seems like that's something that we really need to do because we get a lot of questions regarding K-12 and the platform. And some of the issues are relatively easy to fix. Now, there are some that aren't, and we will get you help for those. But some of the ones lately, the ones that we've been receiving, we believe have some very simple fixes. So what we're going to do is we are going to switch to where I will share my screen. And what I have done is I have two screens pulled up. So let me go ahead, or two pages pulled up. So let me start off by trying to do the shared screen. Okay, and that's working, so that's good. So we'll start with this. This is the page. So whenever your student or you are logging into your K-12 accounts, this would be the actual page that you would see. So it would be the login/learn.k12.com, this part right up here. So you put your username and your password in, and then you press login. Pretty simple. That will take you to this view right here. Now, mine's gonna be a little bit different in the sense that it's the teacher account for K-12, but the actual page should look the same. Ms. Tarazi, do you know what one of the main problems we've been experiencing are with this?
I do, but are you going to share with us?
I am going to share with y'all. So, Ms. Tarazi, so let's say you're a parent and you're watching this and you're like, you know what? I've been trying to see what my student has going on in his classes, and I'm not finding anything. Where do you think you would, just by instinct, where would you want to go? Like you want to look at your kid's schedule and see what homework and classes they have. Instinctively, which one would you think you'd go to?
I would think I would just click on the very first one.
My schedule, right? You think so, yeah. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you go here, that's not going to take you to your classes. So here's where you need to go. You need to go to where it says classes here. So if you're thinking to yourself, wow, I need to see what my kid's doing, I want to see what their class page looks like, this is the one you're going to go to. So I'm going to click on this one. You can see a whole bunch of classes in a second. And the reason you're gonna see a whole bunch of classes is because, being principal and you being the assistant principal, we have access to every single class at our school. What's gonna happen here is actually that your student is only gonna have access, the only tiles that show up are gonna be the tiles for his or her classes. So there should be 5, if you count the advisory. So we're just gonna pick one. Do you wanna do math today? Do you wanna do ELA? Which one should we go to? Any picks? Let's go to Mr. Bigelow. So we're going to go into Mr. Bigelow's history class. Actually, let's do this. Let's go into, how about we go into, let me see. Now, we'll just go into the 7th grade math here. So I'm just going to click on this tile right here. and it takes us right into the home page for the class. So what you see here is you have all these tabs up here, the class home, plans, content, progress, so forth and so on. And you have tools as well that you can click on here for different things and information. But if you look on the page here, there are, in this case, there are no class announcements, but what you do find is you can find different information about the class, such as the homework and things that the kid has due. So that is one of the areas that we've been receiving a lot of questions about, because people have been clicking on, again, I'm going to go back real quick. They've been going into the main page. Oh, I just kind of closed this out of that one, didn't I? They've been going to the main page and they've been clicking on schedule and not classes. And classes is the one that that we need to access to be able to go into the actual classes, see the class page, be able to see what the announcements, if there are announcements, to see what the homework would be for that class. So I need to go and put my ID and stuff in again. So let's do that real quick. And I want to show you something else. So here we are again, right? So we go into classes. So here's where we're going to go. And now we're in classes. And again, you would pick the class that you want to go to. So Ms. Tarazi, got a question for you. Let's say that I need to contact my teacher, or my teacher needs to contact me. What would be some ways that you think we could do that?
So there's a couple different ways.
Okay.
I probably would click on that class just to get into that class.
Okay, so we'll just pick this one again, just because we're there. Okay, so now I'm in the class. So did you know you could email your teacher from the K-12 platform?
I did.
Okay, so let me find that link real quick again. But I believe, actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think we just saw it.
Oh, there we go. Scroll. Oh, just saw it. Go down.
Oh, here we go, right here.
Oh.
Create a new message, contact my teacher. So you hear on the class page, let's say you're like, hey, I'm in math in this math class, and I thought there was an assignment due yesterday, but I'm not seeing it, or it says, whatever your question might be. So how do you communicate with your teacher? So you can go here where you can create a new message or contact my teacher, and then you can send your teacher a message. So we'll click on create a new message, see what happens. So we go here and you fill out the information, who it's for and whatnot. You fill out this message here. Well, guess what happens when you press send? When you press send, what happens is that not only does your teacher get a copy of the message that you sent him or her, but also the parents do too. And the same thing happens whenever your teacher emails your student. So if your student and your teachers are using the K-12 Create New Email, or create the email app for K-12, then there is a record that you will get of those communications. So this is one way that not only can you directly communicate with your teachers and teachers with their students, but parents can be completely involved in those communications. So let's say, for example, that I'm a student and I'm not able to find the homework assignment, right? So I email my teacher, I go in here and I write a message, email my teacher. When it sends and my teacher gets it, mom and dad gets a copy too. And then vice versa. If a teacher emails their student, the parents get a copy as well. So all you would need to do is to identify exactly what email address you would want to go to. So that's a lot of the ones I've been getting lately, Ms. Tarazi. So one of the things that I also notice is that there's just a lot of different things once you get into the class that you can find out about the class as well. Some of these things are going to be active for some classes and some it won't be for all the classes, but the main thing is that this is the place you're going to find the homework. This is the place you're going to find like the announcements for the class. And I think that's one thing that a lot of our parents did not quite know, at least the ones I spoke with this week or last week.
So, Mr. Huves, will you go back to the page, the previous page before classes where we see schedule?
Yes. You want me to go to the, so get out of the math class, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
darn it.
I'll log back in. Now, I'm sure there's an easier way to do this, and I'm missing it right now, but we're just going to go ahead and do it like this.
That's okay.
All right. So we're back here.
So what if I did click on my schedule?
Let's do that. Let's do it. Boom.
So what I see on my schedule, now it looks like you have some things that have been scheduled because you have different teachers.
Right, right. And you and I have access to every teacher in the school. So anything that gets scheduled, we're going to have access to.
But some of the kids, when they click on my schedule, they don't see, they might see one or two things here. And then on this other side, there's this, on the right-hand side, they see their class connects though. And some kids were thinking, oh, I only need to go to Class Connect and that's all I have to do. Schedule Class Connect. So just something to think about that.
Well, so Mr. Razi, isn't the difference? Let's talk about the difference real quick. So if they go to Class Connect, yeah, they get into the class, right? Like you can go to Miss Cole's science class through Class Connect, and there's Miss Cole, and you're learning science. But how is that different from going to the classes?
Interesting.
Isn't the classes where they find their work and their homework, any kind of links and any types of resources to be able to complete those tasks?
And things for them to do to practice skills and get better. Correct.
Exactly.
Yep.
And Ms. Tarazi, I'm going to say something else too. Let's be honest. One of the things that we have kids who sometimes they can't make it to the live class, right? Like class starts at 8:30, but they're helping their brothers and sisters, or whatever reason they just can't attend Miss Cole's class in the morning. So they can come and attend afterwards, right?
Yeah, they sure can, and we hope they do.
Right. And if I say, for example, let's say I'm helping out or I'm doing something to where I have my brother or my sister goes to Evergreen, or they go to, let's just say, for example, they go to Bordeaux. Right. So they might need to have the internet for their classes because they have to be live in their classes. Correct. But, maybe my internet at home can't support two people being on it. So you know what? I'm going to have to attend after my live classes at OBJH are done. Right. So if I come to Class Connect, I'm not going to really see anything here that's going to be of value to me. Right.
Unless a teacher recorded a Class Connect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if a teacher has a recorded session, they could find it here. And, all our teachers are being asked to do that. We do know that there's been a little bit of technical issues, and we appreciate everyone's patience with that. But what else could I do? Now let's assume in the video, if there's a video, I know for a fact that our teachers are telling our students to go to certain pages to get the work and the activities. But let's say that there isn't a video, and it's like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm now getting into Miss Cole's science class, right? Where could I go?
So I'm hoping they go to classes in the class.
Right.
And they could see. But I'm also hoping that they reach out and just send their teacher a quick email and let them know that they've been on there, even if they don't have a question.
Okay, so let me see. So so it's 5 o'clock. I'm in Miss Cole's class. I went to the Class Connect. Today, for whatever reason, there was no video. Maybe there's a technical issue. Because if there was a video, it would I'm sure the teacher would tell me and remind me to send an email to let her know that I had attended. So I'm here and I'm like, okay, I did my work for the class. What would I want to do next? I want to email her, right?
That's what we're hoping they do.
Right. So do I need to get out of this? No, because guess what I got right here? I got this create message. What we looked at earlier. So I write this message to my teacher, Miss Cole, this is Mr. Juves. I went to your class today and did this activity. Or I went to your class and let's say there's a technical problem. I went to your class, I tried to do this activity, but the link said it wouldn't open, right? And then you press send. So what that does, Ms. Tarazi, allows Miss Cole the next day when she's looking at attendance, right? Because I have the right to attend the class and get credit for it, as long as I engage with it by 11:59 p.m. the day that I missed a class. that allows Ms. Cole the next day to be able to say, oh, look, there's Mr. Juves. Oh, he was having technical issues. Wow. Okay. And maybe she writes back and tells me, here's what you could be doing, or here's how you can, here's a link that you couldn't open yesterday. She can get me, you know, what I need to be able to get caught up. But more importantly, that is evidence to her that I actually attended, that I actually participated. And then she will notify the office to say, hey, Mr. Juves is not absent from yesterday. He attended the class after hours. Please give him the credit for attendance. So that way we can make sure that we're documenting attendance correctly under the OSPI guidelines. So that's actually really cool, I think.
You too.
All right. So do we have any questions right now, or anybody have any questions?
Doesn't look like it.
Okay. Okay. Well, in that case, Ms. Tarazi, I will tell you right now, let me go ahead and tell you some things that I know that our viewers would probably like to know. And that is the fact that today we have with us a couple of guests. So I'd like to just kind of introduce them real quick. So with us today, we have two amazing people who are with us from the district office. We have Miss Kelly Neely, who, by the way, among many of her titles, is amazing problem solver of all things universal. I seriously am contemplating proposing her name for sainthood for all the amazing things she's done to help us, like, you know, with all the, you know, things that have been going on. She has been very, very much a stable rock for us. They not only support to teachers and to us as administrators, but also to families. So she is here with us as well. And then we have the ever so amazing Miss Marianne Marshall, who is, besides being our super boss, she is also someone who is very much a honorary Timberwolf and is highly invested in the success of not only the students, but the teachers, and one of those people that we can really count on to be there for us when we need her. And we probably should introduce two other special guests we have, and I'll let them say hello real quick. Our first special guest is Miss Stacy Adams, who is the counselor for all of our 7th grade students. Miss Adams.
Hi, everybody. It's good to be here tonight. Thank you for inviting us this time. We're super happy.
You are always welcome, and we're so glad you're here because we know that you're going to share some stuff with families and viewers in just a few minutes that is going to be very helpful to them. And then I also want to point out that Miss Adams is also our lead person in creating our virtual open house, as well as T-Wolf Camp. And on a personal note, she's the one who taught me how to use Bitmoji, which, by the way, as I say again, my family is very upset with you, but that's a whole other story. Our other guest tonight is the ever amazing Miss Megan Smith, who is our 8th grade counselor. And I'll let her say hello to us.
Hi guys, it's nice to be with you tonight.
Glad you're here, Megan. Good to have you here. And the reason why we have our two guests, Ms. Tarazi, is because they actually have some information to share with our viewers and our families, so that so they can learn a little bit more about not only what the counseling program does to support students and families, but also some other programs that we've got going on that we think our families and kids could benefit from. Before we go to that, though, do we have any questions or any comments that we need to share with the group?
I'm so sorry. We have a student who wants to know how to send an email to another student.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, and since I haven't tried it, I was going to reach out to one of our fearless leaders to see if they had done that. Maybe Ms. Adams. It could be the exact same way. What do you think?
It could be. It could be. I wonder if, you know how it says right here, because we have the screen right here. I wonder if where it says to, I mean, I'm assuming that if the student is part of the K-12 platform, that might be a good way to email the student, a fellow student. I would remind, the good thing about this, again, parents get copies of them, so perfect. So this is a good way to communicate and collaborate to make sure that everyone's in the loop, making sure everybody gets what they need. But we haven't tried this yet, so that might be something that we should try. Not right now, because this is obviously not a student account, but maybe talking with a teacher, maybe there's a space where you guys can try that when you're working independently, or you're in a moment in your lessons where you're working in a group. maybe try emailing each other to see if you're able to share messages. I would assume if that works, you could also share, like, for example, if one student has part of a project as a file, they could share with the other group people in that process as well. But that's a great question. Victoria, I see your emoji, your little icons. Very nice.
Mario,
Yes, ma'am.
students may not email each other in the system. I just checked it out.
And that's why we have the ever amazing Miss Kelly Neely with us, because of the fact that she can get this information super quick. Sorry, you can't email each other in the system. Sorry about that. But I'm sure there's other ways that you can share information, though.
And I think part of the question is, how do we reach out to each other? Students are wondering, how to have those conversations, how to be social in this online virtual world. So that question is really super important, and we really appreciate it. And we're going to be looking into this because it's important. So although you can't.
If the teacher has the chat enabled, that's one thing that they may use. But sometimes, you don't want the chat going on during the session. And then some teachers will elect to give the kids a little bit of free time to talk when they're in the room together.
And, Ms. Tarazi, I'll go ahead and share with you. I hope Ms. Adams doesn't mind me sharing this, but we just got out from a meeting where she brought to the leaders of our school a concern from a 7th grader. You want to briefly just kind of tell us a little bit about that, Ms. Adams, so that our students who are watching know what concerns and what we're kind of talking about a bit?
Yeah, I had a great conversation with a 7th grader last week. It's so awesome to get to do that. And, he brought up a really good point. He asked me, how can we connect and meet people, other students who aren't in our classes or in our advisory? And I thought that was a really good question. And I brought that information to our leadership team today, saying, we might need to brainstorm some opportunities for this. Maybe we could create some types of club type things, or just chances for students that have similar interests to get together and meet each other, because that is a really important part of being a 7th and 8th grader. So I appreciate this 7th grader, but all of you for speaking up and letting us know, because we are learning from you just as well as you are learning from us.
And when you talk about meeting each other, are you talking about virtually meeting each other?
Yeah, unfortunately for right now, that's how it has to be in the virtual world, but we're all getting pretty good at this Zoom and Google Meet and K-12 Connect, Class Connect stuff. So there is a way to make it happen, and we just want you all to know it is very important. It's important to us too.
And I'll say that, I'll be honest with you. This is to all our 7th and 8th graders who are watching. This is to our parents, our teachers, and our community members. I learn stuff every day, and I'm going to tell you right now that I say this. I've been saying this as a teacher. The day that I don't learn something from somebody is the day I probably should retire, because of the fact that I can learn as much from Miss Neely, and believe me, I do, or from Miss Marshall, and believe me, I do. But I learned stuff from our students. I had a student just a few days ago who called me for some help, and I was helping him over the phone, and he taught me something. He's like, no, but actually, if you do this, you can do this. I'm like, oh, well, that's kind of cool. I haven't learned that in the last 20 years. Thank you for sharing. Remember that, guys, for those of you who are Timberwolves, or if you go to any school, remember that this for our teachers. They're also kind of learning as well. This is not something that's, this is new for all of us. So, if you're in a class, or you're in a situation where teachers trying to work out through the technology, be supportive, right? Because and feel free to say, hey, Mr. Huves, so have you tried doing X, Y, and Z? Because you know what? Our teachers know that they're going to be learning as much from you in many cases as you're learning from them. And just know that that's the way that we, not just on virtual learning, but just in general, right? We all have to help each other out. And just because I'm the principal doesn't mean that that students can't teach me anything. That is very much not true. Students have taught me things. I'm seeing some cute images. I see what looks like a dab, if I'm not mistaken, from Victoria. I'm also seeing some eyes, and I don't know what that last one is, but I'm not seeing any questions. Are you seeing any, Ms. Tarazi?
Nope, there's no questions right now.
All right.
I wonder what's happening in the counselor world.
That's what I'm wondering too, because
Yeah.
we have such great guests here. So I think it's time for them to talk to us a little bit about what counseling programs we have, and then other things that we want to share about opportunities and things that our 7th and 8th graders have access to. Ms. Adams and Ms. Smith.
Thank you so much. Well, yes, we just wanted an opportunity to come and get our faces and our names out there, to let our families know that we are here to support our students. And this year, I think Mr. Juves mentioned, I am working with the 7th graders, and Mrs. Smith, who's also on here, is working with our 8th graders. Just again, we are an extra added layer of support for our students. Obviously, we have a large group. I have the entire 7th grade, and Mrs. Smith has the entire 8th grade, but we're a really good place to start if you have questions or concerns. We are pretty good at being a liaison between our teachers and our parents, and just trying to break down all those barriers that come into play. And especially now in this online world, this virtual world, we've been noticing that that's been a big part of our job. Wouldn't you say, Mrs. Smith, is breaking down some of those barriers, getting kids logged into K-12 and those types of things.
Yeah, getting kids logged into K-12 has been a big one, or they forget their password, or we have to try to figure out how to reset it, all that kind of stuff. It's been an adventure.
So
May I
the
ask
other
a question?
thing,
Oh,
yeah,
sorry,
please
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted, so, one of the things I'm thinking about is, like, if I'm a student, I'm a 7th grader, and, or an 8th grader, and, we kind of got a little bit of hint of that in the question we had earlier. Here I am, I'm in the 7th grade, I'm in the 8th grade. Yes, technology has been around since I opened my eyes, but there's still that sense of disconnect that I might have, right? Not just with my peers, but also, with the adults as well. Would you say that, whenever kids come and call for help with K-12, that, if we are not able to, like, get them the answer right away, are we really good about getting back to them?
Well, I would say that we have a pretty big team of individuals working to support. It's not just, there's probably 7 or 8 of us that are constantly working on that. So I can't speak for the students, Mr. Juves, but I would say that I feel like we do a pretty good job of getting back as quickly as we can. And if we don't know the answer, we know places to go to get the answers.
And if I'm a 7th grader, or I'm an 8th grader, and, maybe I don't have K-12, but I just, need to talk with an adult, just kind of about what's going on and whatnot. Would you say that you, if I was in 7th grade, or Ms. Smith, if I was in 8th grade, would be the good people to talk with? Just reach out and say hi and kind of let you know what's going on?
We've been meeting with students about just different kinds of things that are going on with them. So we are not just here for K-12 issues or things like that. We'll work with some stress, anxiety, like all of those sorts of issues that come up, especially with remote learning.
Okay.
So, and I don't know, I know you know this, Mr. Juves, but I don't know if maybe some of our families know that Mrs. Smith and I have been working along with the PE department to create some advisory lessons supporting student mental health and physical health. And so our Mondays are Mindful Mondays. And Mrs. Smith and I have done a couple lessons. We're getting YouTube famous, so we've been filming these videos and putting them out there. And then our PE department is in charge of our Wellness Wednesdays. And then throughout the week, we are also coordinating what we call class meetings, where students have an opportunity to work within their advisory and discuss a pertinent issue that usually relates to sort of our topic for the week. So that's one of the things that Mrs. Smith and I have been working on is coordinate those classroom guidance lessons.
Okay. All right. Well, speaking of the things that you guys have been working on coordinating, what would you like to share with us today?
Well, I don't know if I am able to, no, not share my screen yet, but
Let me see if I can
can
try
you
that.
see if you can? One of the big things, not that's the important things that happens in 7th and 8th grade is that we start to talk and think about college and career readiness, not just college, but something that's going to happen beyond high school. So, and that's a long way ahead to be thinking about those things. But one of the opportunities that our students have is at this time is to think about what they might want to do after high school in terms of getting training towards a certain career. And they'll be hearing a lot about something called the College Bound Scholarship. And so we wanted to take this opportunity, especially if there are parents online, because we know that sometimes we share about the College Bound Scholarship and it only gets as far as the students. And we know that the parents are the ones that end up having to pay for this big chunk of for this college and career readiness. So they are the ones that have a real vested interest in it. So the College Bound Scholarship is there for, it's financial aid. Students make a pledge during their 7th and 8th grade year that they are going to keep their grade point average up. That's why they have it. They have them make the pledge so early so that it's before they reach high school and they have plenty of time to keep their GPA up. That they're going to graduate from, it has to be it's a Washington school opportunity, so this is not out of our state. That they're going to be a contributing member of society, meaning no felonies or not getting into major trouble, and that when they are a senior, they're going to apply for financial aid. And what happens is, if they meet the requirements, this money is available to pay for them to go to school. And there's lots of different places that they can use the College Bound Scholarship. So Mrs. Smith, did you want to talk about that piece?
Yeah. So there are many schools that are accepting the College Bound Scholarship money within Washington State. And it's not just four-year universities and colleges. We've got two-year community colleges and we've got other specialty schools as well. There's Divers Institute of Technology. So that's like you want to be a commercial scuba diver. We've got lots of different cosmetology schools and we've got how many community colleges? A ton of community colleges on the right-hand side. And so it's not just Western Washington. If maybe they want to go to Spokane, we can go over there. We've got local, like Grays Harbor College. We've got stuff in Bellingham. We've got private schools and public schools as well. So somebody could go to Gonzaga with this money, or they could go to Central Washington University. So there's really a whole bunch of different opportunities. It's not just what people might think of as traditional, college or university four-year schools. So we've had kids in the past graduate and use this money to go towards like learning how to do hair or different things like that.
So one of the things that we wanted to point out, especially to our parents who are watching, is that our students, we apply for the College Bound Scholarship, and you may get this document mailed home to you and not know what it is. And so we thought this would be a great opportunity to explain so that it didn't go in the junk mail pile, which sometimes happens when I get things like this. So if you get this letter in the mail or this application in the mail, it's extremely important. It's to apply for this College Bound Scholarship that we're talking about. There's two parts that have to be completed right here that's circled in the yellow. You have to check one of the boxes below. Now, not everybody qualifies. However, over 60% of the students at our school do qualify because it is based on the same guidelines as our free and reduced lunch program. So if your student qualifies for that program, they would qualify for College Bound Scholarship as well. So there's a box here to check which of these qualifications you meet. And then the other really important part is down here, it's circled in yellow as well. The student has to sign that they're going to pledge to do their best in school and keep their grade point average up to at least a 2.0 or above, because they're going to need that to even be accepted into a lot of these schools. And that they understand that this money is going to be there for them when they are ready, and as long as they follow the steps. Student signature, parent signature, and college bound, the Washington Student Achievement Council that's mailing these home are actually sending self-addressed stamped envelopes. So all you have to do is fill out those, sign it, and turn it in, and you will get a certificate sent home to you, letting you know that your child is now part of the College Bound Scholarship Program. So it's a great opportunity. We just really don't want our students to miss this, even if they don't know whether or not they want to go to college, or they don't know what they want to do after they graduate from high school. They don't have to know that. They just have to know that they've got options open and doors open should they make that decision later on. They don't have to worry about the income piece or as much.
Okay, thank you. Just quick question I have. So if I am living in a household where perhaps, English is not our preferred language of communication, what would be my options for having access to this? And then after your answer, if I could have a few moments to translate to Spanish a synopsis of what you just covered.
So if in our Skyward system, the home language is designated as Spanish, like many of our families it is, their application will be mailed to them in Spanish. And so that would be how they could fill that out.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to take a quick moment, if everyone's okay. I'm just going to pull up the image that you sent me, Miss Adams, regarding what they'll get in the mail. So the parents who are watching who choose Spanish as their language of communication know what it looks like, and they'll be aware not to throw it away. So 1 second, please, if that's all right. Voy a hablar en español un segundito, por favor. El propósito. Okay, this is it. Voy a hablar en español un segundito, por favor. El propósito es que quiero repetir un poco de lo que dijo la señora Adams acerca del programa College Bound. College Bound es una beca ofrecida aquí en el estado de Washington State, y la beca permite que alumnos o alumnas que reciban la beca puedan asistir a varias diferentes instituciones de aprendizaje después de terminar sus estudios al nivel de secundaria. Entonces, hay unos documentos que ella presentó que explica el propósito, pero quería mostrarles brevemente este último documento, porque si ustedes reciben este documento por correo o si lo reciben por mensaje electrónico, queremos que no lo voten, que le presten atención, porque es la solicitud para solicitar para la beca. Entonces, la versión que ustedes deben recibir, si eligen español como su lengua preferida de comunicación, será en español. Entonces, lo que van a ver aquí es los requisitos. Entonces, básicamente, identificas en qué área eres, elija en qué áreas cualifican. Y si hay más de uno, pues por favor, elige todos que apliquen. Aquí es un formulario que enseña el sueldo anual, pero también el tamaño de la familia. Y también recuerden, por favor, que si por alguna razón alguien piensa que no cualifica para esto, no causa ningún daño solicitar la beca. Lo que descubrimos es que muchas personas cualifican para la beca, pero piensan que no cualifican, entonces no aplican, y es dinero y beca que puede ayudar a muchos que no reciben esa ayuda. Así que queremos promover la idea de todos aplicar. Y si tienen preguntas, pueden llamarnos a la oficina de OBJH, el 360-426-7991. Pueden pedir hablar con María Vázquez, que es nuestra representante a la comunidad, o pueden pedir hablar conmigo, Mario Juves, director de Oakland Bay Junior High School. Gracias. All right. Thank you for that. Okay. Do we have any questions for our counselors right now?
I do not see any questions.
Okay. So so everyone knows, I just basically gave a synopsis of what you said, Miss Adams, for our Spanish, for our families who choose to receive messages in Spanish. And then I'm wondering if it might be a good idea for maybe to loop Ms. Vasquez in as well, just to make sure that we are able to get that disseminated even further. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking we might even want to reach out to the district to see if we can maybe have some of our translators who translate in other languages perhaps be able to disseminate that information as well, so that we can ensure that that language is not a barrier for this great opportunity for our students, not just at OBJH, but well, I mean, we have students who are of this grade who go to choice as well. So, you know, we want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to access this. Okay, so at this point, we have kind of gone through all of our topics, but that's okay because we still have other things we can talk about. Okay, so I kind of expected this in case people didn't have questions, although I have to say, Victoria, I'm liking your images that you're putting. I'm not quite sure what you wrote at the very bottom because it looks like it's in Mandarin, or it could be in Japanese, because I do believe Japanese is the same characters as Mandarin, but I'm sure it's really awesome, whatever it is. Ms. Tarazi, since we've got Victoria and some other kids who are watching, did you know that now is the time for our 8th graders who are interested in leadership positions to really step up and become leaders? Did you know that?
I did know that. So we're going to actually have a virtual ASB, right? With leadership,
We are.
student body. How do they do that though?
So I'm glad you asked that. I will tell you how they do that. The way they do that is they have to record speeches. So I'm assuming that we're, by the way, for those of you who did not know, this is Ms. Tarazi and my first year at the Bay. So we're still, you know, I would say we're puppy Timberwolves. Is that even the right thing to say? We're puppy Timberwolves? I don't know if that's the right thing to say or not. I mean, whatever. We're young Timberwolves. There we go. So anyways, so I'm assuming that in normal, like whenever we're back at school, that it would be done in assembly or something of that nature. But the way we're doing that now is virtually, like you said. And what kids have to do is they have to go to Castify, I think it's called.
Screencastify.
Screencastify. And is that like some kind of like a web page or something, or an app for Chrome? I think it's an app for Chrome, right?
I think it is.
It is, yeah, it's on their Google Chrome.
Exactly that.
Yeah, so they can just go ahead and go to the Google Chrome and access Castify. Is that right? Did I say it right?
No, but that's okay.
Screencastify.
Who needs screen? Just Castify. We'll go with that. Okay, so you go with Screencastify, and they go there, and then they use that to record their speech. And then who do they send it to? They send it to, Miss Cliff, right? Yes,
Yeah.
Miss Cliff.
Adams probably knows a lot more about it.
Miss Adams, do you know more about it?
Well,
We're
they
young
do send,
Timberwolves here.
they
We
do
haven't been
send
around.
it. They do send it to Miss Cliff. She is the ASB, one of the ASB advisors, along with Miss Barrett, our librarian.
That is awesome. Okay, so that's cool. We got 2 advisors. So here's the thing. So I'm an 8th grader, and I'm like, you know what? I want to be president. Well, if you want to be president, then you're going to have to create a speech, and you create the speech using. Is it? I gotta say it now. Dang it.
Screencastify.
Screencastify. You gotta use Screencastify, and then you probably have a deadline too. So that deadline is this Friday by 1 p.m. So please, 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 if you're interested in running for any of the ASB offices, please go ahead and record your speech on Screencastify and send them to Miss Clift at mclift@sheltonschools.org. If you forget, no worries. You can just contact the school and we can give you that information. You can also wait for this. Are you ready? I'm going to tie this in. You can go to your K-12 and email your teacher and see if they can send you the information back. How about that?
Nice. Good connection there.
I know. You see how I did that? Okay. Taiwanese. Taiwanese. Victoria says that her message is Taiwanese. Okay, good deal. All right. So Victoria, I'm assuming that you do speak Taiwanese. So whenever we get back to school, you're gonna have to teach Miss Tarazi and I how to speak Taiwanese. We have to learn that. That's one of the many things you can teach us. In the meantime, if you're in a class, Victoria, and you're seeing that people are struggling with something about K-12 and you know the answer, hey, help them out. Help your classmates out. Help your teacher out. You know, it might be me in the class that needs help. Help me out, your principal. Okay. Mr. Ozzy, so we have ASB elections coming up. Do you know what else we have?
Tell me.
Yearbooks.
We still have yearbooks?
We still have yearbooks.
What?
We do. We do. We actually, we do have yearbooks still. And I know that we've had at least 2 people who contacted us about the fact that they purchased yearbooks and they want to find out when we can get those to them. But we also have like yearbooks that people can still buy. So I'm thinking that maybe we reach out tomorrow and see like when we can make it all happen. You know, have people come get their yearbooks, but then at the same time, if people want to buy yearbooks, get that set up, you know.
That's a good idea.
All right. Okay. So we've got ASB, we got yearbooks. You know what else we got? You know what we got. You know
what we got, but
we got locker stuff.
We got locker stuff.
We still got locker stuff. We got locker stuff, and you know what? That locker stuff. Eventually, though, again, if you have stuff in your lockers that you want still, please do contact us. We're getting to the point where probably we're going to have to remove it from the building because we do need to create some space. Do you know why we need to create space, Mr. Ozzy?
Why do we need space?
Here we go. The reason why is because of the fact that we have our NJROTC program that is going to be starting in the morning soon, doing their drill practices. Now, that being said, just like everything else, so physically distanced, right? But also and safe, but also getting back into that routine of doing their drill practices. So because they're doing that, and because we're clearing some space for our preparations for the day when we have kids back on campus, to have a space to go if kids aren't feeling well, right? Because of that, we're getting a little tight on space to keep things from lockers and whatnot. So it's going to be very, very helpful if people can come and get their locker stuff. If you don't want it, we're going to have to not have it anymore on our building. So please do contact us if you have stuff in your lockers that you wanted. Please do that soon at 360-426-7991.
So Mr. Hoopes, you had brought up, you said an acronym, NJROTC. What about some people who don't know?
OMG. Really? I said it. Okay.
I don't know what. Yeah, what is that?
It is the name. Okay, so NJROTC. So I would say that the N.
Am I Googling?
Wait, hold on. I know. So N means naval, and then I don't know what ROTC actually stands for. So NJ is not New Jersey. I know that. It's not New Jersey. It's Naval
Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps.
Yeah. I didn't mean to put you on the spot there.
If you gave me 3 seconds, I would have remembered that. That I didn't know it actually. I would have remembered that. But I'm glad you brought that up because we have the pilot 8th grade class that has already started. And we actually have, I think, 9 or 10 kids who are part of it. I did speak with Commander Hood and Sergeant Major Hernandez. They are still willing to take a few more kids who are interested, but that window is closing quickly. So I can tell you now that if you're out there, you're like, you know what, I wasn't quite sure about it, but I thought the positions were closed. Well, we did stop taking names, but at this point we've reopened it for a bit. So if you are interested, please email us this week with your name. Please make sure you talk to your parents about that as well. The way the class is going to work is while we are doing 100% virtual, you will actually go through your 4 classes here virtually at OBJH, and then you will have the NJROTC class will be virtually, but it will be on Google Classroom through Shelton High School. But the cool thing is that the class that they will have, the 8th graders, their Google Classroom class will be just them. And then once we get back to, having the kids on campus, we'll be working with their schedules to make sure they're able to make it to Shelton High School and then back to Oakland Bay. So they're not late or leaving early from any of their core classes. Okay, so Victoria says I am also English, she says. So she speaks Taiwanese and English, I'm assuming. And I'm sure she'll respond to that in a little bit. Okay, so we've covered a lot today. Now we've covered a lot, and then we're gonna keep having these once a month, and they're gonna be up on our YouTube page. We'll take a look at it anytime. If there's stuff in here that you saw that you think someone might be interested in knowing, please do share the link so they can go ahead and watch. But we will have these once a month. I do apologize about the issue today with the Microsoft technology. It was working this weekend when I tried it out. I think the issue is the fact that I'm using the work computer from my house and it did not have Microsoft Edge on it. And I think that might be the problem. So we will try that again for October, but regardless, our Spanish speaking or families who choose to communicate in Spanish can always reach out to myself or Maria Vasquez for support and help.
I was wondering something, Mr. Hubez.
Yes, ma'am.
I was wondering too if there were things that families wanted us to talk about or topics that we could cover in our community forums, if there was a way that they could send those suggestions to us, because I'm sure there are things that people are really interested in that we might be able to help out with.
That is a very excellent point, Ms. Adams. Thank you for that. So yeah, if people have specific things that they want us to address ahead of time, for example, the issue with the reason why we decided to talk about K-12 today at the beginning was because we had quite a few calls, and honestly, there's one parent who said, "Hey, it'd be really great if you guys were to actually show us how, show us this process." So I'm like, that's a great idea, community forum. So if you're watching this now, or if you're watching this, through the month of October, and you're like, you know what, here are the things that would really help me and my family. Or if you're a student saying, hey, Hubes, here are the things that will really help me as a 7th grader or as an 8th grader, you can go ahead and email me. Mr. Hubes, my email is mjuves@sheltonschools.org. You can email Ms. Tarazi as well. Her email address is, Ms. Tarazi, is it the same as mine, where your first letter of your first name and then your last name?
It is. I'm putting it in the YouTube as well.
Okay, would you put mine as well?
Mm-hmm.
But are we the only ones they can talk to?
Oh gosh, no.
No. They can talk to their counselors. Maybe there's stuff that they talk with Miss Adams about or Miss Smith about, and you know what, that would be really good for them to talk about at a community forum. And then they can share it, or they can, come and join us and share it, right? You can talk to your teachers. You can talk to your paras. You can talk to any of us here at the Bay and let us know what it is that we can help you with. The reason why we do this is because we really do want to make sure that we're addressing your concerns and learning about your concerns and trying to help, basically make sure that, we stay a Bay family, even though it's virtual. That's why we do this. We can definitely think about things that you guys might need support with, but ultimately you're the ones who are our best source for that. In the end, we're here for you. And that message is to the parents, to the kids, to everybody. So please, yes, thank you, Ms. Adams. Please do let us know if there are things you specifically want us to talk about.
I know
Something to be aware of too is my email address does not follow the standard protocol of first initial last name. If you do msmith@sheltonschools.org, you will get the athletic director. It's mlsmith@sheltonschools.org.
Shouldn't we just let the athletic director, our K through 8 athletic director, shouldn't we just let him get all those messages?
Sure.
But you know what? That might not be a bad idea to see if Mr. Smith wants to join us one of these community forums when we get closer to sports and activities starting back again, because he definitely did a couple of weeks ago. He sent a message out with me to family. So that actually might not be a bad idea, is to invite him as we get closer to sports, as we get closer to activities, getting back to what we would like them to be. So he can talk to us about all the different programming and ideas that he has, and things that are open to our students. So yeah, that's good.
Something else that we actually have going on right now, Mr. Hubiz. You want to know what it is?
I always want to know what it is.
PTSO.
Right. And that is probably one of those acronyms that needs an explanation.
Maybe.
So do you want to explain it, or do you want me to, or do you want me to, like?
You have the floor. I'm a helper.
Yeah, so Ms. Tarazi's letting me do this one because she knows that I actually know this one. That's how she's helping me today. She won't make me do the difficult ones, but the easy ones she will. So PTSO stands for Parent Teacher Student Organization. And we're really fortunate here at Oakland Bay that we have a really good parent teacher student organization. Ms. Tarazi and I were actually part of the first board meeting this past week on Wednesday. And what it is a group of, like it sounds, group of parents, group of people who are invested in the community, administrators, teachers. By the way, if there's teachers out there, we are looking for teacher members. So please let us know. And if you don't get this this message, don't worry. Ms. Tarazi and I will be talking to you soon about it as well. But what we do is we work together to support the overall experience at the Bay. And one of the ways that the PTSO has done this, and this is of course before Ms. Tarazi and I got to the Bay, was by working with teachers and working with teachers and other Timberwolves to really create a fund so that they are able to support our Timberwolves and families as needed. So there is a lot of need out there, and there's a lot of people who could use a little bit of help. The PTSO knows that and worked last year to basically find ways of being able to do that. So if you're thinking to yourself, I might want to look into that. Maybe they could help me with something. You can. Here's the thing I would say. That would be a really good way to contact Ms. Tarazi or myself. But I would even say that in this situation, I would encourage you to contact Ms. Adams and Ms. Smith, because of the fact that I truly do believe that Ms. Adams and Ms. Smith are going to be able to, not only with what PTSO can do to help you, but also connect you with other ways of being able to help. So you can reach out to me, you can reach out to Ms. Tarazi, and we're happy to receive your emails and phone calls. But we're going to be honest with you, we're going to reach out to Ms. Adams and Ms. Smith once you contact us, because we want to make sure that they're the experts and are able to make sure that we can connect you with everything that you need to be successful for the virtual Bay, and also for the Bay Live when we get back to stage C.
I know also I just want to add really quick, Mr. Hubiz, that the parents that are representing the PTSO, they're looking for other parents out there who are interested in joining. And that could take many forms. Maybe it's just sharing ideas. Maybe you get to pick how you're involved and how you can contribute. So I would recommend reaching out again to, do they have a Facebook page, or do they have is it on our website? How can they find them?
So I believe they have a Facebook page, if I recall correctly. So you know what we need to do? We need to find that out. So here's what we'll do. We'll go ahead and find that out, unless Miss Adams or Miss Smith knows the answer right off the top of their heads.
Well, I do know they have an email, objhptso@sheltonschools.org. So you could try that.
What is that? Oh, I can type it in here.
Yeah, see if I believe it's, OBJH-PTSO.
And I think I remember them talking about having a Facebook page too, in our first meeting. And again, for those of you who are joining us, please remember that Ms. Tarazi and I are new to the Bay, so there are still things we are learning. But yes, I do remember, I do believe they mentioned having a Facebook page. Once we get that, and I will need to check to make sure we can do this, but once we get that, if possible, I'd like to share that on our OBJH Facebook page, if that's
You have a
possible.
Facebook page.
Huh?
They do have a Facebook page.
They do have a Facebook page? Okay. Then the next question is to check to see whether we can share it, or it could be that we're already sharing their link. But that needs to happen. If it's not happening, if we can do it. Okay. Well, it's 6 o'clock. This is the part in the show where I start singing opera. So if you are interested in listening to me sing badly, then you should stay. Otherwise, thank you guys for joining us. We will do another one in October. It'll probably be towards the middle or end of October. We look forward to the day whenever we are doing these and everyone is back at the bay at their home. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Night, everyone.